Good morning. It's a Monday morning, sun is shining here. Good morning and welcome to Kramer's Corner with daily technical update. It is the 25th of August and this video is for educational purposes only. There's no recommendation or advice whatsoever intended. It's purely to demonstrate how I try to read the market using charts. We'll start with Tesla today that bounced from its upper falling trend line in this channel-like pattern, triangle-like pattern here. And it bounced as strongly as a lot of stocks did Friday after announcement from the US Fed chair that they might lower the interest rate at the next meeting. So let's see about that. But it really put the market on fire and bounced strongly back. But we also have Tesla bounced from the upper falling trend line after testing it, and it's likely to resume uptrend. Could push towards resistance around here 357, possibly higher. Well, the theory is that when you have a triangle like this, it should travel at least the same distance at the from the top to the bottom of the triangle, and I tried to illustrate that after the breakout here, and that would be up here to 420. Let's see about that. Usually it doesn't travel that far, but it should at least move to the peak of that triangle, which is around the 370, 375. Well, let's see what exactly it's 367, 368, but still I think we could see it traveling further, especially if it takes out that peak there, and RSI is in a positive sentiment, likely to push higher. The Nasdaq index also bounced from its 786 retracement and had a good day Friday. Still didn't move all the way out to its previous all-time highs, but it could do that in the coming days and weeks. But let's see about that. It's not a given. Everything could be changed on midweek when Nvidia is announcing their quarterly earnings. So that will be key for this week to watch, especially for the semiconductor sector and the AI companies. So if it takes out the low there at 22,959, well, the key support down here, 22,673, could be tested and even broken. But if Nvidia comes out with killer numbers again, well, then we could see a new highs above 24,000. Pre-market, we are a little bit setting back there. And let's have a look at the other markets. Here, S&P 500, very strong bounce indeed, very close to its all-time highs. Really strong bounce there, could continuing higher, especially if RSI breaks above the falling trend line. There is divergence here indicating uptrend exhaustion, but if it closes above the falling trend line, then we could see it pushing higher. And here pre-market, we are just a little tad lower, 0.2%. Dow Jones was really on fire, especially driven by banks or financials that pushed higher here, and now it broke above its resistance there and has now formed a new all-time highs as we can see. So really strong move for the financial sector in US pre-market, also a tad lower, but it's nothing to talk about. It can easily be changed during a normal session. In Asia this morning, we had Seng pushing to a new peak here above the previous peaks. RSI well back above a 60 threshold and above the falling trend, and there could be more in store for Seng in the coming weeks. You can always guesstimate, but targets are not that important, but you can always guesstimate. Okay, we can add Fibonacci to this and projection, and well, we are talking possibly up in the region around 26,500, as long as it stays above this low there, 24,887. Nikkei, on the other hand, here's the future, couldn't hold the couldn't hold up and has slided back, so it closes only 0.5%, or probably closing a 0.5% higher. But still, we are in a bullish trend. But it could change if it takes out that little spike down there at 42 at 300 yen. Then we could have a large correction down to 41,280. In the European market, well, EUROStoxx50 has just opened, and it is setting back after actually had a very good day Friday, setting back a little bit, some profit taking maybe, but we're still in a bullish trend. Positive sentiment on the RSI could push higher, but it is struggling a little bit, so it's not convincing though. And looking at the future, well, it's the same picture here. It did close higher Friday, also spiked higher Friday. It's not the all-time high, as we can see. We have higher highs over here, so it is still a little bit of fragile on the EUROStoxx50. DAX also failed to close above 24,445 once again. Got rejected, and here we have the CFD setting back about 0.5% or something after it also got rejected at its resistance there. So it's really struggling still in the European market. Also, we have the RSI still negative actually on the RSI. I think it closed below its 40 threshold there. Yes, it did. So it really needs to close above the 60 threshold, and it needs to close above 24,445 on the cash index. On the FX markets, we had your dollar higher, closed well above the 117 Friday. I think it can continue higher, but we need confirmation, friends. We need confirmation. It did not close above 60 threshold on the RSI, so still fragile. So what you will need to keep an eye on is the lows there. If it takes out 115.80, well, then it can really turn sour again. So let's see about that. But it should actually push higher. But let's see. We are above 55 moving average. We are above the cloud, so it should push higher. But I want confirmation of the RSI. Sterling dollar, excuse me, bounced from the 100 moving average and has bounced to resume uptrend. It needs to take out 135.95, so basically 136, and get back above the cloud. RSI is in a positive sentiment after it closed above there, but again, I want confirmation to get it back above 60 threshold. So still struggling a little bit for uptrend, and if it takes out the lows from Friday, well, then downtrend is in session. Euro sterling slowly crawling higher, has reached 50% of this downtrend there, or this sell-off there. I think it will push higher. Positive sentiment on the RSI. If RSI closes back above 60 threshold, it will further confirm the bullish picture that will push higher towards 87, possibly back up to 87.5. It's still key support here at 86. Dollar yen, well, it's peaked just above the resistance there at 148.52, but couldn't hold on, and then got hammered back down. So we are still in this range here. And as you can see, if I also draw a trend line, maybe there's a little bit of trend line going on there, but it's not that strong. But it's the 55 moving average seems to be counting here or holding on, and the other part of cloud. Still positive sentiment on the RSI, but the 200 moving average is really weighing on it, so it's not that convincing. The euro yen, well, still a sideways trading, still needs to get back above 173 and a bit, and below 171, just below 170. That is the range to look out for. We are above the cloud. We are above 55 moving average. We do have positive sentiment on the RSI, despite the fact that there's divergence. So it is indicating trend exhaustion, but we are above all this. So let's see, the bullish breakout could be the most likely outcome, but there's no guarantees here. Aussie yen, well, after dipping below the minor support there, But actually remove it, seems like it's not really counting here, but it bounced from the lower part of the cloud. RSI bounced, I think, or it did just below, it dipped just below, so actually bearish sentiment, and we are in a bearish trend. See lower low there, lower high, lower low. So what will happen next? Will it get back above 96.20? And then could reverse the trend, or will it continue lower towards 93? Your guess is as good as mine. That's a real. But if it takes out the lows from last week there at 94.40, well, then it will continue lower towards most likely to 93. Sterling yen, well, it is still the 200 area that is really struggling with here. So really not much going on. Yes, we do have positive sentiment on the RSI, but I'm not quite sure that we will get that correction or uptrend resuming. It's not a clear picture, folks. It's not a clear picture. Yes, it closed higher there, but it's a bit blurry. So, but if it takes out the lows from last week there at 197.85, then we are looking at 197, possibly lower. The Aussie dollar bounced from the low support here at 64.18, has bounced strongly. I will remove this one, and then we can have another one added. We can push this one in there. There we are. So it actually reached the 61.8 retracement there at 65.10, just a few pips from it. It needs to close above. It needs to close above the cloud. It needs to close above 55 moving average. Then I think we'll see uptrend resuming, and it will be confirmed if RSI closes above 60 threshold. But it is likely to push higher than maybe we have. We have a strong support down here at 64.15 area. Dollar Canada. Let's just adjust this a bit. Well, it couldn't hold up. It got knocked back down to the 61.8 retracement there. And what I will do, I'll remove this one and then have another one. Say, okay, then the picture has changed, and that happens. So we are hovering around the 50% of this uptrend here. Could dip lower to the 61.8 at 138, possibly even lower. It needs to get back above 139 and to really resume up to 139 and a quarter, with a potential up to 140, 140 and a quarter. Positive sentiment on the RSI telling us that it could do that, and the uptrend is still intact. You know, have higher highs. We don't have higher lows. So maybe it's just a correction. So let's see about that. I'll remove this one because it's obsolete now. So we're still in this bullish trend. You see higher high, higher low, higher high, higher low maybe, and then a higher high. Let's see about that, or will it slide back and test the correction could still take it a little bit lower before next bullish push. The Sterling Canada is still trading sideways after this strong move here, so it needs to take out the peak here at 187.58, 187.60. Still, there's still potential to a correction down to the 38.2 retracement at 185.5 before next push up. Positive sentiment, no divergence on the RSI, indicating that we are likely to push higher on Sterling Canada. Euro-Swiss, well, bounced from the 55 moving average and the 50% retracement of this uptrend there. So still in a bullish trend, but it needs to take out the peak there at 94.50 to further to re-establish it. Positive sentiment on the RSI. There's slightly divergence. You can see the peaks there are declining. So let's see about that. If it takes out these lows here, I take out 93.59 here, the lows there. Well, then we could see it sliding further back. So it's a little bit on a knife edge at the moment on Euro-Swiss. Dollar Swiss. Let's remove this one there. Is testing the key support and 61.8 retracement here, just around 80 level. This morning actually closed below the cloud. RSI still positive though, so I think if it takes out the lows today, I know it's back lower. If it have another go lower, then I think we will see it pushing lower towards a 79. The dollar index got rejected here just below the 100 moving average and 50% of the this sell-off there, so we can remove it and see it testing these lows here around 97.5 and the lower part of the cloud. So it's really trying to push back, and if it takes out the Friday peak, well then uptrend could be in session, but for now we really are on a knife set, and we can illustrate that with, see there, 97.45 and 97.43 it hit Friday. So here really key to what's on the dollar index. Gold seems likely to resume uptrend. Took out minor resistance there at 3,358. Wasn't that strong really, and didn't expect that. Back above the cloud, back above 55 moving average, still positive sentiment on the RSI. The peaks here around 3,410 will be a next key resistance area. And that will really be decisive. If it takes out that, well, then we are looking at 3,500 as next level. If it takes out the lows here from last week at 3,311, well, then we could be looking at 3,245. On silver, that really pushed higher Friday, and uptrend is in session. Higher high, higher low, higher high, and we could push higher on silver in coming days. Next struggling point or resistance area is just around 39.50, 55, where we have also the 138.2 projection of just this little there. So that is the next level to watch out for. If it takes out that, then we're looking at 41 level. Positive sentiment on the RSI indicating likely higher levels. Platinum, really not much to talk about. It spiked higher Friday, but couldn't hold on. But I think eventually it will also crawl higher if RSI gets back above 60. And I think we'll see that if platinum pushes above 1400. Then we will see another rally, I think, higher. 1261 still the key support. Copper still humming sideways, saying, oh, maybe it will push higher, but I'm not quite sure. And it's still resistance here for 65. Moving on to the energy market and WTI crude oil. Not much interest at the moment. Trying to bounce, but hasn't really bounced much. There was room and still room up to 65.20 area, but you will see the 100 moving coming down here, kind of putting a lid on it. We are in a bearish trend on it, negative sentiment indicating lower levels. Brent crude oil almost got up to the 38.2 retracement at 68.30. Will it touch it before resuming downtrend? I'm not quite sure. You can see it's struggling at the moment, but let's see about it. Negative sentiment on the RSI. We are in a bearish trend, could continue lower in the coming days and weeks. On the natural gas front, on the other hand, especially in Europe, we saw a strong bounce to the 61.8 retracement here of this sell-off here, and then a setback. There could be potential up to the falling trend line, maybe the 786 retracement where we have the 55 and the 100 moving arms coming down, but I wouldn't be surprised if we see it turning around and sliding lower again here. Still negative sentiment on the RSI indicating just that. On the US nat gas, sell-off Friday continuing this morning here, and I think we'll see it down to around 2.5 fairly soon, where we have some support on the US nat gas. Moving on to the yields, the interest rates, US 10-year Treasury yields. Yes, it's that back Friday, but the picture is still the same, really. Not above 435 and support at 420, but most of the moving averages are now pointing lower, especially 55 and 21. Still negative sentiment, so the 420 could come under pressure, and if it is taken out, well, then we are looking around 412, 410. On the European yields, excuse me, on the European yields, not much action really. Still in an uptrend here on the EU 10-year. If it takes out the peak here from last week, well, then we're looking at 283, 285, possibly higher. But you can see higher lows here and higher highs. We are in an uptrend. The UK yields again rejected Friday at the resistance here at 477, 475, 477. So and that's maybe good for UK that the yields are being kept lower. I think if it takes out the peak there from Friday, well, then it could 481, 482 could come under pressure. Just very quickly on Japanese yields that closed higher Friday, unchanged today, but we are in a bullish trend right there. On the crypto market, some interesting things are going on. We have Bitcoin lower, and it's actually below 112,000 key support and could slide lower now. So that's really an interesting development, given that Ethereum has pushed higher and made an new all-time high over the weekend. Now it is setting back a little bit. So what I will do, I'll remove this one, and I will also remove this one, and say, okay, maybe we have a little bit of a correction going on there, and you add that to it. So we are at the 38.2 retracement, but it's still in a bullish trend, higher highs and higher lows, but there's massive divergence on the RSI. So maybe some exhaustion kicking in here short term on Ethereum, but really an interesting development that Ethereum is now running the show, and the Bitcoin not so much, which if it closes below, well, there's not really a close on Bitcoin as it's trading 24/7, but nevertheless, it seems like it will continue lower. If it takes out the lows here from over the weekend at the 110,635, then I think we'll be looking at 107, 104, possibly lower, but we have a little bit support down here. All right, that's all for today. Have a nice day and happy trading and charting, and talk to you later.